How's it going, Rogues Gallery, and welcome to another Flesh and Blood video. Today we have the winner announcement and Q&A for my 5,000 subscriber giveaway. So many of you sent in so many questions. We're just gonna go down the list and I'm gonna answer just a bunch of them. I have it on my phone here. I'm just gonna go down the list. We're gonna answer some questions, and near the end of the video, I will announce who won those legendary scab skin leathers. I also just wanna take the time and say thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for commenting and subscribing to the channel, man. It really means the world to me. And in that time, since that 5,000 subscriber, giveaway announcement video, we've gained almost another 1,000 subscribers. At the time of this recording, we're almost at 6,000, which is crazy, and it's just so exciting, for me personally and for just the growth of the community. I have so many sweet videos coming down the pipeline. I have an excellent interview with a very large TCG personality. You can kind of speculate and guess here, but I think it went really well, and I think it's going to be a very, very fun and interesting discussion about Flesh and Blood. And not just that, we have our Monarch pre-release right around the corner. I'm definitely going to be doing some videos on that. We have Monarch, officially launching very, very soon. Definitely going to do videos on that. We have the next Creator Chaos Championship, where me and some other Flesh and Blood content creators have like a big old, game match tournament kind of thing. We're gonna be doing that with first edition Flesh and Blood, for first edition Monarch. And it's just an exciting time, man. So thank you so much for being here. Let's get to the Q&A. You can get your A's queued. So let's see, the first question here is, what can a startup do to help promote Flesh and Blood? I think just building decks and having pre-con decks readily available is fantastic. If your local game store is a brick and mortar store, right, they can reach out to Legend Story Studios, and Legend Story Studios is super cool with supporting local game stores and sending them what do they call it? Like the game store kit things that they have. And they also send prize support for events and all of that kind of stuff. So on top of that, what the store can do is to maybe make some pre-made Flesh and Blood decks with comments to either give out or to charge at very cheap prices. Yeah. On top of advertising with posters and that kind of stuff, advertise it prominently with Magic and Pokemon, and slap Flesh and Blood right up there, and it's gonna draw some eyes. The artwork in the game is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, let's get to the next one if I can pull the list up. If I were a tree, what type of tree would I be? Probably some sort of pine tree. I love the Pacific Northwest here. I love the evergreen, the pine smell. I'm gonna go with that, some sort of pine tree. They're also very tall and strong, and I like that. I like that. Which legendaries do I think are the best bang for your buck? If you can only get 2 or 3 of them, which one should you be focusing on? Fiendel Spring Tunic. You should definitely get a Spring Tunic. It can go in almost every single deck. It's a fantastic card. It's going to be a Flesh and Blood staple forever. Tunic, hands down, get yourself a Tunic. You're going to need it. It's kind of an expensive card, but it'll be worth it in the long run. So get a Tunic, and literally any class can play it. When was the first time you realized you would never grow out of card games? I wonder if I've currently realized that. Probably pretty early on, man. I've always had pretty strong convictions about stuff, and I still like a lot of the stuff I like as a kid. I still like video games, still like comic books, still like card games. So card games are, my true passion here. When was the first moment where you experienced something that made you think, wow, this is what life can be? Mainly applying to any type of comic, game, movie, show, collecting, something that made you happy, exciting to look forward to every time. Honestly, Magic the Gathering, man. I loved opening packs of Magic. Every single pack you opened as a kid felt like Christmas, or it felt like your birthday, right? You're always getting something really excited. You don't know what it is, but it could be awesome. And yeah, I really like that. And it's one of the reasons why I love trading card games in particular. It's just really exciting getting random cool stuff. There's a lot of gambling mentality, I guess, that goes into it, but I mean, it's just fun. It's just really exciting. What's your favorite illustration from Flesh and Blood, and why? Anything by Daria Klebnikova. I want to get some prints of hers because her art is beautiful. And if you don't know, she did the art for Eclipse, she did Sunkiss and Moonwish and a bunch of other cards. It's very stylized and I absolutely love her artwork. You know, hold on, if I can reach over here for just a second, I do have the playmat as I drop my phone on the ground, the playmat for Eclipse. Look at that. It's awesome. I love it. I'm so glad that I have this playmat. So Daria Klebnikova, absolutely brilliant. All right, next question. What are you looking forward to most when it comes to Flesh and Blood this year? Is it some set in particular or announcement? I'm just looking forward to more cards, man. It's been a while since we've had new cards, like Crucible of War. It's been a while since Crucible of War, so I'm really excited to get my hands on Monarch and start just diving in. I'm really, really excited to see what they do with Kingdoms and if they incorporate more talents and, you know, what talents they incorporate, from what regions, what they end up being. Like, is the talent from Metrics gonna be like Teklo? That's my call, by the way. That's my hot call. Hot call, is that a thing? Teklo. Teklo from Metrics, which is sweet. But then what's gonna be like the underbelly? What's that one gonna be? I don't know. Poison? I don't know. I think it's just gonna be really cool. Let's see, what do we got? Biggest obstacles to overcome as a content creator when you first started. How do they compare to obstacles you may have now? I mean, video and audio are very obvious things. You need not just you need a good camera, but you need a good mic and you need to speak clearly. I think one of the things that a lot of folks have trouble with when I see like new content creators is not having enough energy. So if you come from a theater background, and I kind of do, you know, I took some theater classes in high school, you know that you need to act, what was the percentage? Like 120%, right? Because you act at like 100%, you look kind of boring, right? You need to overact and like exaggerate your movements, not to a crazy degree, though some people do definitely to a crazy degree. Shout out to Leonhardt. But I think that's another thing, right? To like present yourself in a very energetic way and to get folks pumped about what you're into. And that was kind of a challenge for me because I was like, I want to be serious. I want to be serious and well respected, and I don't want anyone to make fun of me. Dude, forget that, man. Forget that. Just do you. Make what you love, and you know, be true to yourself. If yourself is very energetic, be really energetic, be more energetic. And if you're not, then find other ways to make your content very engaging. So yes, I don't know if that answers the question, but maybe it does. All right, so let's see, what is the next question? What in the card game has failed that you wish could have been more successful and why? I mean, that's a pretty easy one. Supply. It's pretty easy. A lot of it's due to COVID, but a lot of it is also due to just the game expanding way quicker than Legend Story Studios thought. So, supply the game, just flat out. Can we get you drinking or get on a drinking with Bronson video? Yes. Next one. Setup looks so clean. Congrats. Thank you. Thank you. I think so too. Let's see, what's your best memory that's TCG related from when you were younger? Man, I love playing card games with my best friends and my brother. That's probably my favorite. We would like, my mom would put out a table like outside, you know, like one of those like lawn table things, and we would just play card games out there with our like Magic decks and Pokemon decks. It was great times, man. I played a lot more card games when I was a kid than I have the time for these days, which is so sad. I played card games all the time, man. I might have even been better at card games back then because I even competed in like a lot of like tournaments and that kind of stuff for Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! But yeah, just that, man, that's so much fun. How do I feel about the recent move to PvE for many card games? PvE is fantastic, man. I love Arkham Horror, and this is one of the only card games I play with my girlfriend because she really likes the co-op element, and I think the co-op element is awesome and very important because some people just don't want to be be competitive, or they're competitive but they don't want to be competitive against you, right? And you know, I like that. So I think Flesh and Blood should definitely do like a PvE kind of thing. What anime or games are those figures in the background? I think it's from Shining Blade, Dog Days, and Gundam, though the figures back here are probably going to change a little bit over the next few months. I got some cool stuff coming along. Next up, what's your guess on Monarch's new fables? I was gonna guess like light of soul, but it could definitely be like a dark thing, like a dark heart, or we've already had a heart. Dark mind, I don't know. Light of soul seems very obvious. Something like that, something like that. Yeah, so let's see. What's the most nostalgic memory for your various card game experience? I've already kind of talked about that a little bit. What kind of stash wax do I use, fellow stashman? Currently, I use Suavecito stash wax, though my stash has been a little unruly lately. I was using pomade and it doesn't really work very well. So I've used Suavecito for this. I didn't want it to be like super like hard. I'm trying to retrain it, right? Wearing a mask all the time with COVID makes your mustache sad. Makes your mustache sad. So that's definitely an obstacle, my fellow mustachioed gentlemen. Let's see. Next question. Some of these aren't questions, but I appreciate the comments regardless. What are some key metrics you tend to look at to assess the growth of any new card game to determine how successful it will be in the future? FAB, MetaZoo. I mean, honestly, genuine interest, specifically genuine interest from players. If I see people who are just like, want to buy it to resell and flip, that's not genuine interest to me. That's people who thinking they can make a quick buck. So players who are like, how do you play this game? I want to buy starter decks. People complaining about not having starter decks. That is a good sign that your card game is attracting new players. It's not a good sign that you don't have you don't have cards available. You definitely want cards available, but the fact that people are looking for them is very important. I love the music. Is this song on your tier list? So the music in the background, I always have links in the description down below. It's by someone called Lakey Inspired. Just do some really sweet like chill hop stuff. I used to have more like chiptune music on it, but I felt that it was a little distracting. You know, personally, I'm a metalhead, but you know, I like a lot of different types of music, and I like the chill music. I think it's a good vibe for just talking about card games, and that kind of stuff. What is one thing you hope stays the same in the next 5 years for the TCG community? The TCG community in large, it's hard to say, but for Flesh and Blood currently has a very welcoming and positive community, unlike any other card game community I've been a part of so far, other than maybe like Force of Will. And I hope it keeps that, man. It probably won't as the game gets bigger, and as channels get bigger and maybe people drift apart, but currently there's a really nice like community aspect. You know, I'm like personally friends with a lot of the other content creators, and we chat, and I like that, man. I think it's just a great community aspect. I hope it stays like that, but pessimist in me says it might not, man. What are you going to replace those open FAB booster boxes with sealed ones? When am I going to do that? Probably soon. I have a bunch of sealed ones over here. I have like some unlimited here. I'm going to get a bunch of Monarch though. I just want to open up all my Monarch, man. To be honest, I'm not here to sell the boxes. I'm not gonna. Like, even if they get really expensive, I'm more of a collector than an investor. And so even if I have a bunch of sealed Monarch boxes back here, like first edition, I'm not going to sell them. So probably just gonna open them. Maybe I'll sell some of the cards inside if I don't need them, if I get extras, but soon. I'm probably planning on changing some of the WeCross stuff down here into more Flesh and Blood. Because I've added some stuff to the displays here. I've added some like cool Pokemon stuff, and I've added some more Flesh and Blood stuff. But yeah, it'll change as we go on. Next up, what is your favorite memory when it comes to being involved with the TCG world? We'll say I already answered that. We already talked about that. There's a ton of more questions to get to. That's close enough to another one. I do appreciate it though. Do you play D&D? I love D&D. I've been getting really into D&D in the last year, 2 years or so. I currently play a high elf sorcerer named Vanowith. There's some references to my D&D character actually in the first Red Zone Rogue playmat, so look forward to that. And I want to make a full video on D&D eventually, like how to start playing D&D, like a new player's guide. I love D&D, man. What is my favorite Magic card? Shivan Dragon. Love Shivan Dragon. Has to be the old Melissa Benson artwork though. I also like Vesuvan Doppelganger. Quentin Hoover's one of my favorite Magic artists. Just a fantastic like comic book style. Ordered my first box of Arcane Rising. Yo, hope your box was awesome. What genre of stories do you prefer to read, watch, and or play? I really like sci-fi and fantasy. That probably comes as no surprise to people out there. What may come as a surprise though, maybe not, is I love detective novels and movies and stuff like that. Absolutely love detective novels. Some of the shirts I wear sometimes are like Sherlock Holmes, like old school, like book cover art for Sherlock Holmes. I love murder mysteries, man, and I love detective stuff. So that's the answer for that. Let's see. If I was able to create one custom generic for Monarch, what would it be and why? I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. It would probably have multiple modes like Enlightened Strike. It'd probably be some sort of non-attack action that has multiple modes, which I think could be really cool. I love options, even if the card's not quite as strong as some of like the other cards that do only one mode. I like options and I like flexibility. So yeah, it'd be some sort of generic that does multiple things. Maybe draws you cards, maybe pumps up an attack, maybe something weird, lets you play something from your graveyard. I don't know, something like that. What do you say is the moment catalyst for your love of card games? I think it was, I don't remember what happened first, but I remember one of my best friends as a kid, his brother played Magic and he gave me some cards and I loved the artwork. And my dad always loved going to hobby stores because he was a big fan of like model cars and model trains, like scale trains. And he would buy us booster packs there. He'd be like, yeah, you can have booster pack. You have the cheapest ones. We got a lot of Fallen Empires. But those are really good memories, man. They're really good memories. Does the background lore play a part in getting into all these different card games? Honestly, not really, though it helps, right? The background lore isn't super important, but I think it needs to be there. I mean, okay, wait, reverse. The background lore is super important and it needs to be there. But for me, I look at a card game and the mechanics first, but before looking into the lore. Like, is the game fun to play? And honestly, does it look nice? Because aesthetics are also very important for a card game because that's what you're gonna be looking at. If it was just mechanics, no. But mechanics and artwork are fantastic and the artwork ties into the lore. So, yes. What's one of my favorite dead TCGs you play regularly and why? Unfortunately, I don't play as many TCGs as I like. I love Dragoborn, and I also really love the Middle-earth CCG. Those are probably my two favorites. Should Route be banned? No. No. Route should not be banned. I see you. It should not be banned. What card games from the past fizzled out would you like to see someone take another crack at? Dragoborn, and the Middle-earth CCG, same answer. Those great games are fantastic, man. What new card games am I excited for coming out this year? I'm gonna be doing a video on Gate Ruler very soon. I think Gate Ruler is very interesting. I don't know if it's gonna be the next big thing, but it seems cool and it seems like a really fun diversion and there's a lot of variation in there, and it was made by the guy who did Buddy Fight, which people really love Buddy Fight. So I got a booster box and some decks coming and I'm gonna play some Gate Ruler and talk about it on the channel. So Gate Ruler. If I could be made into a TCG character, which franchise would you turn into? Would you choose to turn you into a card? Flesh and Blood, man. Any reference in Flesh and Blood would be more than amazing. More than amazing. As an actual character, would be absurd, out of this world. Even if it was just like a little red rogue, zone rogue reference, that would be, I don't know, man, I'd have a heart attack. Are there any other small or in development TCGs you're keeping an eye on? Sleepers with potential to become big? Like I said, I think MetaZoo, obviously people already know about MetaZoo at this point. And Gate Ruler. Yeah, I think those are both great. What is my most used generic in my decks? Probably Sink Below, to be honest. I put Sink Below in almost every single deck. I do like Enlightened Strike and Command and Conquer. Some combination of those. Something I really want to do on the channel that I haven't had time to do yet. So I've mentioned this before, but I really want to start my Let's Learn to Play series where me and another person play a brand new card game and like learn how to play it and kind of go through that process and play some games and that kind of stuff. More gameplay is what I would like. Even though I know gameplay doesn't get as many views, I think it would be fun. And I think it would give new players interested in a card game a way to see that, way to see it played, which is what people are looking for when you look to get a card game, right? You're like, how does this game play? What does it look like? What does the flow look like of the gameplay? That kind of stuff. My favorite card in Flesh and Blood thus far. Probably Enlightened Strike. I mean, Enlightened Strike's just my go-to answer. I love the options of it. I love the art on it. It's like a complete package, man. It's a good card too. Are you happy with Crew Unlimited reprint? Yes. Yes, I am. I think reprinting sets in unlimited forms is a no-brainer, brilliant idea. I'm gonna be opening Crew Unlimited on the channel. I'm gonna be offering it to patrons, so yeah, dude. I still need to get me a Shiana and Arknight Shard. Those are some of the only, there's only 3 cards in the game that I don't own a copy of, right? I don't own Shiana, Arknight Shard, or Eye of Ophidia. I have every single card in the game, a full playset of everything else. Those are the only 3 cards I don't have, so yes, give me some Crew. I wanna buy some unlimited stuff. Let's see. What's my favorite type of butterfly? Those blue ones. Whatever the pretty bright blue ones are. What class would you like to see added to Flesh and Blood? I would love to see like an assassin class and make it really different from ninja. Like a really mechanically, flavorfully distinct class from ninja. Also alchemist. Alchemist, make an alchemist. That would be awesome, man. Alchemist is my answer. I'm gonna go with alchemist. There's a lot of just great comments that just say like appreciate the content. I appreciate you for watching, man. I appreciate you for watching. What other TCGs do you feel need more exposure? I mean, Flesh and Blood needs more exposure, to be honest. To Learn Community College did a fantastic job of that, and I think it's gonna do wonders for the game. What other games other than that? I must just say Flesh and Blood, man. I'm just gonna say Flesh and Blood. I think people already know about a lot of the other ones out there, like Force of Will's been around for forever. What about FAB drew me into the game? What made me love the game? I saw some other content creators who don't really do videos now, but they're called TCG Scrubs, and they made one way back in 2019 and made a video on it, and I saw it and I was like, how do I not know about this? This is like, for me, this is like a game made for someone like me, and I immediately contacted Legend Story Studios and I'm like, how do I play your game? How do I get into this game? Yeah, they sent me stuff and it's all history, man. It's all history. Shout out to Ian. Shout out to Ian of Right Time Gaming for helping me get into Flesh and Blood, because he's the one who sent me my first Flesh and Blood stuff. And if it wasn't for him, I probably still would have gotten into the game, but it would have been later. I would not have gotten in at Alpha, Welcome to Wraith, and it would have taken a while to get to Arcane Rising. But I was gonna buy into it anyway. I started to buy like you know, boxes on eBay, even though it was really hard back then. Let's see. Is this channel slowly changing a life? Yeah, kind of. You know, like, this is every content creator who's really passionate about what they do, they're gonna say the same thing, right? They wanna do it full time. Everyone wants to do it full time. That's not a secret. I would like to do this full time. Currently, this is kind of like a part-time job for me. I still have a job, like I still have a retail job, though because of Channel Fireball, actually, the support I get from Channel Fireball and my lovely patrons out there, I was able to step down from a management position at work. So now I'm only working retail only a couple days a week, and I'm doing content. I'm doing content the rest of the time, so yeah, man. And it's also opened up so many other doors for me, right? Channel Fireball, like I said, I have the interview with a really prominent TCG personality coming up, and Flesh and Blood's just, and this channel has just opened up so many doors for me that I didn't think was possible. I'm so thankful and grateful. Bro, it feels so recent, you celebrating 1K. I know, right? I know. The channel's doing, once again, I'm so grateful. You're one of my favorite content creators. Yo, thank you. What are your thoughts on the overall economy of FAB? That's interesting. I think it's actually, other than the scarcity part, I think it's not too bad, right? I think the collector things being for collectors is fine. And I think unlimited being 79 bucks a box is also amazing, right? And you can still pull fables from unlimited boxes. It's still kind of a feel bad for people who can't get cold foils when they really want to get cold foils. But I think it's good right now. Yeah, I think it's good. I would like a higher print run of first edition, basically. That's my only criticism. Higher print run of first edition and more availability for starter decks. Yep, and the Ira decks too. So just more, give us more stuff. But I do like how that there's stuff for collectors, right? Because you want your cards to be valuable. I mean, people who collect cards, you don't want your cards to be worthless. That's not fun. You don't open up a card that's super rare and it's worth like 10 bucks, dude. That's lame. I know you mentioned PvE aspect. What class do you think you'll main when it comes out? I mean, I'm probably just gonna stick with like Runeblade, but I really love some of the new stuff too. Really excited to try out Shadow Brute. It'll be really interesting to see what they do with PvE. I guess it'll depend on how the form it takes, but doing like a big OTK Viserai deck against PvE could be fun. How do you get your beard and mo looking so wizardly? Like I said, I use Suavecito, not sponsored by the way, though I could be. I'm not sponsored by them. Making gate ruler videos, yes. Let's see. Able to step down given that the drawing, blah blah blah. Hold on, this is a long one. Which classes are you most excited for, and which class do you think has the most potential to be top tier competitive play? I think all the classes in Monarch are fantastic actually. I think they're all like just really good. Probably Bolton. Bolton seems like the most obviously good, but I think they all seem really powerful. What's my coolest Archon name in Keyforge? Oh man, I don't remember. I had some cool ones. I'll have to think about that. I don't want to go dig through my Flesh or my Keyforge stuff, but I had some pretty sweet ones. What's my favorite anime? Oh man, so I do like anime. I don't have a lot of time to watch it these days. Hellsing Ultimate. Let's go with Hellsing Ultimate. I love that. I love that OVA. It's so good. Though I don't know. I'm gonna go with Hellsing Ultimate. Though I do like some other ones too. I mean I like a lot of them. Let's see. Already answered a question about memory with friends and people playing cards. Let's see. Forgot to mention Max when I mentioned YouTuber with cards content. Yeah, Max Mofo for Pokemon. I know like some of my friends really like him. I subscribe to him too. He does some zany Pokemon stuff. He likes throwing stuff against the wall. Let's see. Where do I think WOTC is headed? Not in a good place. Not in a good place. I've talked to some of my friends about this, and man, I think it's all corporate greed and downhill from here. Maybe Flesh and Blood being like a true competitor can like make them pull their heads out of their butts and realize that their audience and their fans are important. But currently, I don't think they think that. I don't think they think that their fans are important, and that's where I think they're heading. Corporate greed. As far as the eye can see, corporate greed. Your growth seems super genuine and deserving. Thank you. Do you think Solana is inherently good or evil? I don't think any light character is inherently good. I think there is good and bad in both the light and the dark. Yeah. I think there's also a lot of interesting nuance in that too. I mean, I hope so, right? I hope, like, so for example, if you read the lore, right, Chain wants to go against the light and Solana because they are gonna be like awful. I mean, like more than that, they're gonna be like apocalyptic. Their tyranny is unbound. So even summoning all of like these demons, you know, shackling your soul, all of it is worth it to free the world from the tyranny of Solana, which I think is very interesting. You know, whether you side with the light or the shadow, I think having characters who don't think they're villains is great. You don't want your characters to think they're villains. No one does that in real life unless you're insane. Like no one approaches something thinking they're the bad guy. Everyone thinks they're the good guy. Even the worst people in history think they're good guys or think they're doing the right thing. Except for, you know, crazy people. But anyway, yes. Already answered that one. Why am I always at an angle in my videos? So I went to school, I went to University of Oregon, and I have a degree in film, and I like filming things slightly different than most other people. And so I like this kind of angle here. So we have me at an angle, and the background also at an angle too. And I think it makes it a little bit more dynamic. So that's why, instead of just talking directly like this, I think having an angle makes things a little more dynamic. It makes it a little bit different. What initially drew me to FAB? I already answered that one. What's in the pipeline after Kingdoms? More Flesh and Blood. Hopefully some like supplementary sense later in 2022. But oh, and then maybe some PvE stuff. Yo, I'm excited for all that. All of that. I'm down, man. Favorite thing about living in Portland? I actually love where I'm from. I love the Pacific Northwest. I love Oregon, and Portland's a great city. It's got some downsides. Every city does. Whoever designed the city definitely did not design it to be as big as it's become. But I like the vibe, man. I like the vibe. It's a really chill city. I love the weather. I love the rainy weather, man. I'm weird. I love rainy weather. Favorite Middle-earth TCG expansion? Oh, Dark Minions, maybe? White Hand is pretty cool. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. What inspired me to start the channel? Obviously, or not obviously, but other content creators. Like, I've been watching YouTube for a long time, man. I started watching YouTube with Northern Lion. Shout out to Northern Lion. If any folks out there love our Egg Boy, Northern Lion's fantastic. And watching him and watching other content creators talk about stuff really did it. And at the time, it was because no one was talking about Force of Will, and I was like, hey, I could be a voice in this space. And now it's become Flesh and Blood. So yeah. Also, like, I love movies and I love film and I love recording stuff. Like I mentioned before, I went to school for film. So yeah, I think some of my film school chops came through in my Monarch spoiler video. If you have not seen it, watch my Monarch spoiler video. I kind of, helped incorporate a little bit of my, like, film creation stuff. It wasn't perfect because I only had like a 4-day timeline to make it, but maybe a little more. It was pretty short. I had less than a week to make it, but I loved it and it was a lot of fun. So yeah, what's your favorite class to play in Arkham Horror, and who's your favorite investigator? I tend to really like I forget what it's called. The yellow class. the yellow class. We haven't played Arkham in a while. I really haven't had time to play it, a lot recently, but yeah, I also like classes that mix things up. So I really like Joe Diamond, for example. What is my favorite episode of Metalocalypse? Moustache, the lake troll. Also, Mermaider is really good. First season of Metalocalypse is fantastic. There's so many quotable things. I don't know if it's from first season, but I also like saying stops copies me a lot. Stops copies me. Congrats on 5K subs. Out of all the cards I own, what single card gives me the most overwhelming positive feelings when I see it? I truly love and value the cards that Legend Story Studios sent me. So like the Cold Foil Viscerai back here and my Mutated Mass spoiler card. Yeah, they mean a lot to me. I will never sell those cards, no matter what. So, yep. Who is my favorite artist in Magic the Gathering or Flesh and Blood or any of the card games I play? I really like some of the classic Magic artists like Mark Tedin, Quentin Hoover, Anson Maddox, Melissa Benson. For modern Magic, I love McAuley Villeneuve and Seb McKinnon. For Flesh and Blood, like I said, Daria Klebnikova, absolutely love her artwork. And then there's Alexander, whose last name I can't pronounce. Alexander starts with an M. Malkov, I don't know. Fantastic artwork. So there's so much good art, man. There's so much good artwork out there. Favorite overall artwork from a card game? That's hard to say, man. There's some brilliant artwork out there. Once again, I really want to get some Flesh and Blood artwork, so currently I'm really like geeking out over like Daria Klebnikova's stuff. But yeah, what's my favorite archetype in all the card games I've ever played? I really like mid-rangey decks, man. My favorite deck that I ever played, like doing Magic growing up, I really like, I had a rock style deck around Apocalypse, running like Spirit Mongers and Pernicious Deeds. I love my rock style deck, man. That's one of my favorites of all time. Let's see, decided to play Brute. I suck at Brute, man. Favorite ice cream flavor? It's hard to say. I guess it depends on my mood. I guess the overall one would just be like a Oreo cookies and cream one, but I like some weird ones too, and I like some gelato that has like actual stuff in it. That's my favorite. Like stuff like gelato that has like peanuts or almonds or coconut, like it has texture. That's some of my favorite. What's my favorite pizza? Man, I love pizza. We eat pizza a lot. My favorite pizza is from Zachary's in California. So if you are from California, Zachary's Pizza in California, there's a couple around the Bay Area, and they have this deep dish pizza that you have to eat it with a fork, even though, that's kind of sacrilege against pizza purists. But it's so good, man. It's so good. The deep dish from Zachary's, that's literally like a pie, is amazing. If you're talking about generic pizza, like a Polynesian barbecue pizza. Yeah, that's great. All right, so the video is going pretty long. We're gonna try to speed this up, right? I don't know how far I'm going through them. I just have them all, just a list here. So favorite class, Runeblade. Favorite hero, Viserai, though I do like Chain, and I do really like Prism too. I keep my Legendary in larger cases and top loaders, don't fit in typical deck boxes. What deck boxes do I recommend that will hold larger cases? I don't know, man. That's a question for Tolarian Community College. Not a lot of them that I have hold like top loaders or anything bigger than that. That's a question for Tolarian Community College. Go check his channel out. He has dozens and dozens of videos about card gaming accessories. Have I ever tried the Final Fantasy TCG? I have not, but I would love to. I'm really turned off by the art, man. I don't like what I would call screenshot artwork. But I heard it's really good. So I should probably check it out at some point. How long have I been playing card games? Since 1995, man, since I was like 8 years old. What's my favorite Keyforge house? Dis. Actually, yeah, Dis. Favorite card from each release so far? I think I've already answered this for the most part. Probably Enlightened Strike, Grasp of the Arknight. I'm not sure what my Crucible of War would be. I'm not sure what Crucible of War would be. And then Monarch, I'm not sure yet for Monarch either. Those require more thought. Already answered about the figures. Take on MTG. Yes, I do think Flesh and Blood can take on MTG. I think MTG and Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro are disenfranchising a lot of players, and we're gonna see a mass exodus, if we're not already seeing a mass exodus, of people from Magic who want to play a card game where the makers of the card game actually care about you. They actually care about the players and the fans and the people who have passion about their card game. You know what, Wizards of the Coast? They don't. They don't care about you. So yes, I do think they could take it on. Let's see. Well, the downfall of Magic and the rise of... Okay, I don't know, man. I don't think Magic is really going to go anywhere. This question was asking about like the downfall of Magic and all that kind of stuff. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. No matter how many people like leave the game, I think there's going to be new people coming in. It's such a big thing right now. Not just right now. It's a beast, right? And I don't think Magic's going to go anywhere. And that's... Me ragging on Magic is kind of hard for me to do because I love Magic, man. I grew up playing it, but... Yeah. You gonna play MetaZoo? Compete? Discord casual play? Yeah, I'm gonna play MetaZoo. I'm not sure about competing in it, but I definitely want to play a bunch of games and you know, get the ball rolling. You know. What's the best start package to buy in order to build first working deck? I would buy. So this is asking about what products to buy for Flesh and Blood to get like a good working deck. I think typically you can just buy singles, right? If you wanted to open packs, you can buy a couple booster boxes and then of the class that you want to play. So if you wanted to play like Runeblade, for example, you would buy like a couple boxes of Arcane Rising, maybe some Monarch. And then after that, buy singles to help fill it out. I think that's a good option. How did you come up with your channel name, and does it have a special meaning to you? It doesn't really have a special meaning to me, but I had like a list of potential names for the channel, and I wanted to reference card games in some way, but I didn't want to reference a very specific card game because I wanted to have the options to talk about whatever card game that I wanted to talk about because I love card games. I love all the card games, though I love some more than others. So Red Zone and Rogue are both terms used in card games, and they're both terms that I really like. Getting into the Red Zone, being very aggressive, I love strategies that do that. Even like the mid-range decks I play, I love, you know, attacking for the win. And Rogue decks are decks that are just kind of off meta, right? They're kind of out there, and that's kind of like my vibe, my style. So hence Red Zone Rogue, and it's also alliterative, and I love alliteration. First booster pack I opened as a kid. Do I still have those cards? Yes, Fallen Empires. I still have all my Fallen Empires. What's my favorite Flesh and Blood card? Already answered that. Do you think of deck builds in the shower? Yeah, man. Shower time is like deep time. Deep thinking time. Come up with a lot of ideas there, and you gotta write them down quick or I always forget them. Besides TCGs and YouTube, what are some of the hobbies that I do in my spare time, if any? I play a lot of video games. Mostly just card games, video games. I know a lot about animals because my retail job, I've worked in the pet industry for over 7 years. So I do stuff like that, but I don't really think about stuff like that because it's more like work to me than anything like that. Though I love spending time with my dog though. Let's see what else. We're getting down to it. Let's see, favorite mechanic in Magic and how it could relate to Flesh and Blood. That's a pretty hard one. I'm not sure I have a favorite mechanic in Magic. The joke answer would be Storm, and Chain and Shadow Runeblade can kind of do that, which is fun. I think it's gonna be really fun, actually. Would like to ask your opinion on whether FAB will take over MTG in the long run. It probably won't take it over, but I think it'll give it some great competition, and it's gonna be better for both games that way. Do you think FAB will be in the top 5 TCG in a few years? Dude, I think FAB's gonna be in the top 4 this year, if not in the top 3 this year. Like, that's my prediction. It might be off, you know. I might be overly optimistic. What video games do I play? A lot, man. I play a lot of video games. I love third-person action games. I love RPGs. I really love the Dark Souls series or the Souls series. Anything by From Software, they're fantastic. I love The Witcher. We're probably gonna see some more Witcher stuff in the background. I love Diablo. Super excited for Diablo 2 Resurrected and Diablo 4. Yeah, I like video games. I play a lot of video games. Mostly play on PC and PS4 these days, but you know, I like Nintendo. I played like Pokemon Sword and Shield and that kind of stuff. It's very nostalgic, you know, because I played Pokemon as a kid. Let's see. LSS developing an official digital version of Flesh and Blood. They will never do that. Legendary Studios will never make a digital version of Flesh and Blood. It goes against their core philosophy of playing in the Flesh and Blood. So they will never be an official digital version of Flesh and Blood, and I like that. They support physical cards, they support the local game store, and they, you know, are kind of against digital and, you know, big box stores, which is, I respect that a lot. They're not in it just for the money. They're in it to support people who support them. How many boxes of Monarch do you plan on opening? Well, first edition or unlimited? A lot of both. For first edition, probably 10 to 13 boxes. I have 14 coming, and one of those is going to my patrons already, so all the rest I'm gonna open up. And then for unlimited, a lot, several cases. Do I think LSS will introduce PvE? Yes, I do. Favorite movie? That's hard to ask. Every time I tell someone that I majored in film, they say, what's your favorite movie? I don't know, man. I used to say The Good and the Bad and the Ugly, even though I don't really like Westerns all that much. I also really like Hot Fuzz. I think Hot Fuzz is just a really fun movie, really fun quotable movie. Yarp. Anyway, Hot Fuzz. Let's go Hot Fuzz, I guess. Even though I tend to like a little bit more serious movies, like detective movies and stuff. I'm just gonna go Hot Fuzz, man. Mine has to be the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Oh, I mean, obviously I love Lord of the Rings and I like Star Wars too. The original 3 Star Wars. Let me be very clear about that. Though the new ones, not as bad as the prequels, but the original 3. And obviously the Lord of the Rings. I love the Lord of the Rings movies. They're like classics, man. Like absolute classics now. Let's see. Favorite Ranger card, Knock the Death Whistle. Favorite band or artist, already talked about that. Favorite band, either Dark Tranquillity or the Decemberists. Favorite artist, I really like Seb McKinnon's stuff. I really like a lot of the classic Magic artists stuff. What's my thoughts on Wizards of the Coast selling more boxes directly via Amazon? It's weak, man. It's lame. It's lame. I hate that Wizards doesn't give a crap about their game stores or their fans. Have I ever doubted the success of FAB? Please be honest. No, dude, not at all. Go watch my first videos. Go back and watch my first Flesh and Blood videos. I was jazzed, so stoked about the game right from the get-go. I love Flesh and Blood. Even if the game had not gained this amount of popularity, I would still be here talking about it because I think the game is brilliant, and I'd just be telling people, why don't you see the same thing that I see? Because this game is awesome. So, not for a second. I thought it was a brilliant game right from the get-go. What's my favorite mechanic in Flesh and Blood? I really like turns where you can do multiple things. So probably Go Again. I think Go Again's a brilliant mechanic. Arsenal is really good too. Go Again or Arsenal. Let's see. Appreciate my content on lesser known games. Yeah, thank you. Especially Middle-earth TCG. Yeah, brilliant artwork in Middle-earth TCG. Or lots of like classic artists, even some classic Magic the Gathering artists in that. Will I do any more Middle-earth TCG stuff? Yo, the game's really expensive. I do have some sealed boxes, but maybe. And I have all the decks too. Yeah, maybe I'll do some stuff. Do I play any video board games? Nah, I do play video games and board games quite a bit, mostly with my girlfriend. But I mean, TCGs are my true passion. I wish I could play more of them though. What video game would I like to see turned into a card game? Dark Souls? Look at Dark Souls. Or Physical Gwent, one of those. My least favorite card in Flesh and Blood. I don't know, man. That's hard to say. I don't know. I don't really have a least favorite card. Arknight Shard because I don't have one. We're gonna go with that. Arknight Shard because I really want one and I don't have one. Favorite song? That's hard. I really like Atoma from Dark Tranquillity. I really like Cathode Ray Sunshine from Dark Tranquillity. There's so many December songs that I really like. The entire Crane Wife album is brilliant. King is Dead is brilliant. My girlfriend and I saw them in concert. They're so good, man. If you like that kind of stuff, if you like indie kind of music, folky kind of music, man, they're so good. Let's see. What do I think FAB needs to make it and join the other TCGs? Okay, I mean, I think they're on their way there. They just need to have more product, man. Not in terms of like product releases. They just need more product available for people to buy of the already released stuff. Make Blitz decks available for everyone, which it seems like they're going to be doing. Make Unlimited easy to get for everyone, which it seems like they're going to be doing. So that's the biggest challenge that Flesh and Blood has. You're the most loved FAB channel out there. Well, I don't know if that's true, but thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Your support of other content creators are amazing. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I do like to support my fellow content creators out there because I think everyone's passion is deserving of attention, you know? Favorite art in FAB, already asked it. Creation of a next class in Flesh and Blood, probably Alchemist, and kind of tie it into like potions and that kind of stuff. That could be really sweet. Or damage over time stuff, that could be sweet. Favorite card for Viserai, I love Mordred Tide. I love the Grasp of the Arknight. Because what I like about Grasp of the Arknight is it's very deceivingly powerful, right? People look at it and they're like, the card sucks. But it doesn't actually suck. It's actually pretty good. It gives you like incremental advantage over time, which is amazing in Flesh and Blood. I think it's one of the key things about Flesh and Blood that it's a good level up moment for people who play Flesh and Blood, to realizing that there's not a lot of big swingy cards in Flesh and Blood, and cards that give you good advantage over time are just really good. Especially in Grasp of the Arknight. I think it's better in a go wide strategy because you can activate it more often, but I really like it. Also, it was my first Legendary I ever pulled, so there's that too. Pizzas, already talked about pizzas. Copper, silver, and gold. Well, it's not in Monarch. It could be in Kingdoms. Let's see. FAB expansions. We already kind of talked about what I think, you know, Kingdoms and all that kind of stuff. We'd love to see more new classes. I think because we had Illusionist in Monarch, I think it's a possibility that we could see more new classes in sets, but it's very interesting now, right? It's super interesting. So we could have repeat classes with new talents, or we can have new classes, or like both. I don't know. I think it's really interesting. I think the talent system, I've already talked about this in the Channel Fireball video. If you haven't seen it, you should go see it. But I think the talent system really expands Flesh and Blood. Most valuable Flesh and Blood card, my Cold Foil Alpha Tunic. I think it's worth several $1,000s. I don't know how much at this point, 10,000 bucks or something. I don't keep it here, where I'll start to show you. I do have like a unlimited heart back here, but my Alpha Tunic is probably my most valuable card. Let's see, what's my favorite drink, alcoholic or not? I like rum, but to be honest, I'm a tea guy, man. I drink a lot of tea. Hot tea, cold tea, black tea. I like tea, man. I drink a lot of teas. Teas with lemon, not like lemon flavor, though that could be fine too, but like just squeeze lemon, or like a lemonade, like an Arnold Palmer. Oh, those are delicious. What's my 3 favorite TCGs? Collecting and otherwise. Flesh and Blood, and it's really hard to go from there. I've been watching a lot of Pokemon opening videos, but I don't think I'd do that a lot personally. I mean, Magic's gotta be there just because it's so ingrained to like my history, and Force of Will is another like big one for me, though I've kind of gotten out of it. So it's hard, man. Some of those, combination of those games. One of my favorite FAB YouTube channels. I don't want to answer this just because I'm gonna forget someone, and I don't want there to be any feel bads. There's a lot of really good Flesh and Blood content creators out there, so yeah, they're all good. Everyone who did like stuff for the Monarch spoilers, they're all great, man. Go check out all their channels. But I don't want to make a list because I'll forget someone. And they're all great. I mean, obviously ones that I've worked with before, like DM Armada, but there's so many other good ones. Flesh and Blood has a great community. Got your first box of Flesh and Blood, and they pulled a tunic. Yo, nice. Congrats. Let's see. Do you think the game can support 8+ factions? Well, it's gonna do it right now. We got 9 with Illusionist. What about 16? Maybe. I mean, the World of Warcraft trading card game had like, what, 12 or something? Was it 10, 12? Something like that. And that game was great, so yeah. How long did it take your hair to grow? Kind of long. And I've had long hair ever since I was like a teenager. You know, I had a conversation with my parents and they're like, we support you, whatever you do. And I'm like, can I grow my hair? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, doing it. I don't think that's what they meant, but yep, ever since. How would I make Azalea better? Allowing you to Arsenal 2 cards. Yeah. And also giving her more defensive options. First big card I pulled back in 1995, Shivan Dragon, 4th edition. So I had an Underground Sea. That was my big card. I had an Underground Sea, and I traded it for a Shivan Dragon, which back at the time was a great deal, by the way. Now it's like, well, why would you do that? But back in the day, Shivan Dragon was a powerhouse. And I remember playing my Shivan Dragon and getting it killed by Royal Assassin, which was also a huge bummer, man. Another one about my mustache and beard. Like I said, I use the Suavecito, though I have used pomade before. I don't know if I recommend that. Man, there's so many questions. Thank you for all the questions, man. Favorite Nintendo character? Zelda. Not Link. Zelda. I like Zelda. She's cool. Especially like in Smash Bros, man. Especially in, I like the more like adventurous Zelda. Not like the save me, but like the more adventurous kind of Zelda. Let's see. Do you think LSS will go the way of WOTC and begin to create collector draft boosters like they do for Magic? No, but I think there's a definite possibility that they do some sort of like from the vaults kind of thing. Like some sort of like collector box thing. I think they've mentioned that before. Like I think James White mentioned that it's a possibility. Favorite non-fab card in my collection for each game? That is a very hard question to answer. I don't know, man. I typically don't have like a ton of affection towards individual cards, to be honest. It's usually towards decks. So like for Magic, I love my Yawgmoth deck. I have a Yawgmoth Thran Physician like commander deck that has like an alpha terror in it. It's got a bunch of really sweet like foils and old school cards, and I love that deck. So it's usually decks, I guess. Would I like the Wyvern CCG to return? I think Wyvern's cool. Yeah, I think it'd be cool to return. Do I suspect they will ever attempt to do multi-class types for FAB? At this point, no, because I think Talents already do something very similar. So I don't think we're going to see multi-class cards, and if we do, it's way, way far out. I think the Talent system already kind of does the same thing. How does it feel to inform and influence people worldwide on topics you love and admire, and most important, are you happy with it? Dude, yeah, I love that I have like a global community. I don't talk about it a lot, but like I think less than half of the audience here is from the US, which means more than half of the audience is from outside the US, which I think is awesome, man. I think it's really cool that there's like a global, the Rogues Gallery is a global community, which is sweet. What are you looking forward to most in the spoiler season? The spoiler season was awesome. I guess it's already passed, but my own spoiler video was a ton of fun to make. This person's asking about deck techs. Yes, we will see a lot more deck techs on Red Zone Rogue. I wanted to wait until Monarch came out to make the decks more relevant so we can see kind of like what was going on in Monarch. So definitely gonna have deck techs for all of the new heroes and some updated deck techs for some of the old heroes for sure. Favorite board game? Does Arkham Horror count? If it's not Arkham Horror, I really like Ticket to Ride. I know it's kind of like a really like casual game, but yeah, play it with like my girlfriend and her friends, and it's a good time, man. All right, man, there's so many more questions. You guys asked so many questions. We're not gonna get to them all today. Maybe we'll do another Q&A in the future, but thank you so much. So we're gonna announce the winner very shortly. I'm sorry this was so long. This is probably gonna be like an hour-long video, but let's just do a couple more, just really quick ones. Opinion of Flesh and Blood and the future of it, and will it stand the test of time? I really think it will, man. I think it's run by people who know what they're doing. The game is fantastic. The mechanics are fantastic. It's kind of like this complicated game that I think a lot of like, you know, gamers are really gonna love. It gives you depth to like sink your teeth into, and I think it's great. And there's also the collectability aspect, and the art is great, and I think Flesh and Blood's a complete package. You know, I really, really do. What do I think collectors are chasing in FAB? I mean, cold foils. People want cold foils. Any kind of cold foil. People love cold foils. I remember when you were opening a heck of a lot of Force of Will. Yep, back in the day, a couple of years ago, opened up a lot of Force of Will on the channel. Okay, last question. Partially because the video is going really long, but also partially because my phone is about to die. So it says, Blitz seems to be the most popular format at the moment. Why do you think that is? Also, congrats. Thank you. It's because it's really fast, right? It's a really good entry point. It's a really good way to get multiple games in a row, and it's just easier to learn. It's like less complicated. You don't have to deal with like the pre-deck building kind of thing where you have like your 80 cards and then you kind of like pare it down based on what your opponent is playing. It's easy and it's quick. So yeah, I think that's why like Blitz is like the go-to format for a lot of new players. But I think Classic Constructed will always be like the premier competitive format because it really has that level of depth, you know? So with that said, let's get finally to the winner of the video, and I want to get the winner's name up here before my phone dies. So we have, and I'm going to show it right here now. Now we have Chris McDonald. You are the winner of the unlimited scab skin leathers. Go ahead and message me either on Facebook or on Twitter, both of them at RedZoneRogue. By the way, if you're not following me on Facebook or Twitter, you should definitely do that. I talk about Flesh and Blood. I post like weird Flesh and Blood memes and stuff all the time. So Chris McDonald, message me on that kind of stuff. You are the winner of the scab skin leathers. If you do not win today, which is obviously most of you, fret not, because we're gonna have another giveaway probably very shortly if the channel is gonna continue to grow the way it's growing. I want to do another big one at 10K. So we're gonna be giving away another legendary card probably at 10K. I said probably. Legendary or cold foil? Probably not both. Maybe both. I don't know. We're gonna give away something sweet at 10K. Or maybe a deck. Maybe we'll give away a full deck. I don't know. We're gonna do something sweet for the 10,000 subscriber giveaway. If you've watched this far, by the way, and you watched the whole thing, man, thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this Q&A video. I think it was a lot of fun. Talked about a lot of stuff here. I'm sorry if I didn't get to your comment and your question. There's so many. There was like 300 something questions. I appreciate everyone who commented. I appreciate everyone who watches the video, comments, likes, subscribes, especially like my patrons, but you know, everyone, all y'all out there, thank you so much. The channel's growing right now at an absurd rate. Actually, the last couple days have been pretty crazy, so it's gonna be very interesting to see where the channel goes in the next couple days because, like I said, I have a pretty sweet interview coming up with a big TCG personality, and we'll see, man. We'll see. At the very least, I think it's gonna be a very fun and informative video, but I'm really excited for it. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. Stay tuned for more Flesh and Blood content here on Red Zone Rogue, and fingers crossed, man, maybe we'll get to 10K by the end of the year. But even if we don't, I'm really thankful and grateful to be, you know, where I am, talking about card games with all of you, and I can't express that thanks enough. Like, it means the world to me, man. It does, and I'm so humbled by it. So thank you so much. So regardless of what you do, by the way, liking, commenting, subscribing, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time for some more card game content. See you later.